Greetings and welcome to your Mindfulness Mastery podcast. I am your host and trusted guide, Tawnya Love. I am an intuitive, shamanic, angelic wayshower, healer, light worker, and author. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this podcast. To schedule any one-on-one sessions or group healing events, you can visit and book your sessions on my divinely inspired website at mindfulnessmastery888.com. Thank you so much for your presence and for your support. Now sit back, relax, and open yourself to receive. All right, guys, so welcome to episode 3 now of Mindfulness Mastery 888 podcast. I'm Tawnya Love, and I've got my soul sister, Cindy Campbell, here. And we left off on the last part of our conversation. I was kind of getting into a little understanding of what I call my inner warrior. And I know that many of us will have different things we resonate with, and a lot of it could be connected to past lives, past timelines, things we've experienced. And if we look at it from a multidimensional perspective, past lives could even be represented in this same life. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm reuniting with my past husband, and that was like 12 years ago. And that feels like a past life at this point. And we're having a new life emerging, and we're new and we're different, and we're like really enjoying reconnecting. So past lives could be literal lifetimes, and it could also be in this life, different aspects of self, different deaths and rebirths that we've gone through. And in a shamanic perspective, it's understanding that there are times when an old self dies and it's released in order to create space for the new form to take shape. So that could be literal, like a person leaves their body, their meat suit, and they're like, I'm done with this timeline. I'm going to leave my meat suit and I'll come back in different. Or it could be Cindy leaving a place she's lived her whole life, an energy she's been in her whole life, and she's now at a place where she's ready to rebirth. And she's, I feel, coming through the birth canal personally, where it's the rebirthing is happening and there's pain in it. Like if we look at the actual symbol of a woman birthing a child, there is pain, there is pressure, there is a head coming through a small little hole in the vagina. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. And this is why children should respect their mothers. Let's just be fucking honest. Because come on, like that shit is not easy or fun.
No.
But when we're going through it and you're rebirthing yourself consciously by choice, that's a very different birth. Mm-hmm. Like in Avatar, there's the one where you're born in your life, and then there's the one where you're reborn and the tribe accepts you. There's more than that. I've had so many deaths and rebirths in this one lifetime. That is up to the soul's courage and its ability to detach, right? Like if we're too attached to something, then it's going to be really hard for us to evolve and to adapt. So death, rebirth, do you see how that's a vital piece of the shadow work you're doing?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything you want to share connected to what I just brought in?
Yes. So I do feel like I have kind of gone through some rebirths, but like a very like mini versions of it. And they talk about like reinventing yourself or so kind of mini versions of that.
Yeah.
But this feels like a biggin.
Yes. A huge level up.
Yes. Yes.
Because I feel like your soul, what I'm getting intuitively is you are ready to leave shadow frequency.
Yeah.
Where you've put on different costumes.
Yes.
So like in my book, Universal Trust Fund Baby, I talk about spirit kind of brought in the metaphor of it's just a big play. Mm-hmm. We're all characters. And so if for a lifetime or lifetimes we've been a victim, we're used to that, and we can play the shit out of that role. It's not that challenging. We're let me go. And sometimes maybe because we're so good at being a victim, we're like, I'll just go put on the victim costume.
I've been very good at that.
Fuck off. I guess I'm not the movie star. I'll just be the victim. And so we go put on our victim panties and our victim bra, right? And we embrace that and we play it again and again.
Yes.
Well, at some level, maybe that victim is like, you know what? This fucking sucks. And I am so tired of it. And something in them just really wants to be the superhero, the badass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of play around maybe in secret. No one's watching and they're trying on the little leather pants and the jacket. And they're like, fuck yeah, I look kind of awesome. And so it's like this shift happening, right? But energetically, we play these characters. And so we can do that in a lifetime. We can do it over lifetimes, play the same fucking character. And that's still that Maya kind of playing out in the illusion. And that's something we're all doing at a level if we're in a meat suit, right? But there's an energetic consciousness and frequency of shadow where I'm just an unconscious actor in a big fucking play. And I'm kind of pissed because I feel like it's everyone's fault. It's the government's fault. It's my parents' fault. It's my boyfriend's fault. Like, it's somebody's fault. Fuck them all. Right? So we're in shadow.
Yeah.
So we're at war. We're at war with everyone. And this is why we see so many so-called leaders that want to go to war all the time because they're at war with their fucking self. If you're not at war with yourself, you do not want to harm another being. So this is where it comes to consciousness. I am sensing in you an energy that's been in that shadow, ice skating back and forth.
Yep.
But now you're like, I have suffered enough. This sucks. And I've met someone that I see has gone higher and I can't help but watch and pay attention and I want to go too. And so energetically, something about that hooked you, reminded you, helped you remember, and got you to choose to do this work so that you shoot up and level up that spiral to a higher frequency. So like what we call in the Gene Keys, he refers to it as the gift frequency.
Yeah.
But you're moving up into a higher frequency or a higher state of consciousness. And in that, it becomes, instead of what was before hell on earth, you're now experiencing heaven on earth. You're bringing heaven to earth because the soul that walks with that light, they can't help but bring sparkle magic everywhere they go. And that's like joking, like, I'm just bringing some sparkle magic. And I can playfully do that because I also can understand I'm in the world, but I'm not of it. And that's what I feel Christ was teaching, is to be in the world, but not of the world, means he's in the world. He's in a meat suit, an avatar, but he's not of the frequency of the shadow. And that's why miracles are happening for him all the time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so energetically, you realizing, okay, this sucks. I do not want to be suffering for eternity. I do not want to be at war with myself and everyone else. And because when I'm at war with myself, I don't want to sit with it in the past. So I throw it at my friend or I throw it, and fuck, that doesn't work out very good because the relationships are terrible and I end up alone.
Yeah.
But this is where you're different than a lot of souls that are still suffering in unconsciousness. I'm saying this because Cindy's been vulnerable of being like, man, am I a bad person? I feel terrible. And I'm like, no, you're a courageous soul that is looking at your stuff and releasing it. There's a difference between someone doing what Cindy's doing, looking at their stuff to release it and understand it and to level up, and someone who's completely in denial that they have any problems at all. And they're calling everyone else the problem and they're projecting hatred everywhere they go. They're like a fucking burning bus. Everywhere they drive, shit's on fire.
Yeah.
Because energetically they have no self-awareness and they're putting everyone in danger that they hiccups that they're connecting with. Those souls, they're also not bad people, but they are people being really bad to themselves and other people. So they're just people that are still incredibly unconscious, have no self-awareness, and are creating havoc. And some of them are leading countries, and it's a little bit concerning.
Yes.
But energetically, what we want to focus on is what we're doing, you know? Like, what are we choosing? And for you to choose to look at your stuff and to not identify and to love yourself and to release what's not yours and to choose to ascend higher and to be in the world but not of it, is you choosing a different consciousness. That takes fucking courage and a lot of like wisdom, a lot of mastery to even get to that place.
Yeah.
So if you were this piece of crap, unworthy being, you would not even be sitting here having this conversation with me to understand what you're doing and to be able to choose it. You would still be running from a soul like mine or flipping me off in traffic as you almost hit me. Does that make sense? Like, oh, wow, you almost hit me, but you're flipping me off. Got it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
So that understanding is really key. And I think so many people doing the shadow work, I feel is so important. I feel it's always important since the beginning of time. And really, if we look at truth, there is no time. It's all now. So energetically, it is now the time for us to do this work as a collective, as humanity, all sharing a planet, you know, because think of how, as we do this, like a soul like mine that has done it and is continuing to ascend, because we're never really done.
Right.
But as we've chosen to go into a higher consciousness and frequency, my soul genuinely can say, I am wishing everyone love and I'm wanting them all to win and to thrive and to be happy. When we're not in that frequency or that consciousness and we're in shadow, it's really hard to not wish people bad because we are so our own enemy that we project it. So we actually will sit back and kind of wish bad things on people and want them to be punished and suffer because we are. So it's a sign, like when you realize you're not doing that anymore and you're not doing it to yourself. And let's be honest, how would we expect someone to not do that to other people if they're doing it to themselves?
Right.
So one of the things I've said, like my kid has struggled with different things, and we'll get into topics about all of this stuff because I feel like there's a really important reason that spirit will guide all these conversations. But one of the times my kid was projecting on me and lashing out and really mad at me for not doing something in the way they thought I should do because of their desire to not honor what they really are. And I literally looked at them and said, baby, I am not your enemy. I am loving you unconditionally. I am loving even all the parts of yourself that you are hating and rejecting. That's the love I have for you.
Yes.
I am not your problem. And they just shut up and had to go process. Because energetically, when somebody is not loving themselves, they're projecting, they're lashing out, they're angry at themselves. And then it will also be hitting and ricocheting to people, sometimes their mom or their loved ones, right?
Yeah.
But if we can remember that that's not what we're doing, if we're choosing love and we're choosing to be in acceptance, then we can be a way shower of that. But even that, I can't make my kid love themselves. I can't make my friend love herself. I can show them and illuminate that and remind them. But ultimately, every individual has to choose that. And I feel I've been a healer for many, many years. And one of the things that spirits expressed to me is that the ultimate wound of humanity is feeling not enough. That's like the core wound for all humans. It doesn't matter if you are fucking Beyonce and you got $1 billion, or you're Elon Musk and you got $1 billion, or you're the homeless guy that I saw in Portland the other day laying on the sidewalk that has no dollars. It doesn't matter how wealthy or how poor, but the core wound, if we're in shadow frequency, is I am not enough. It's a lie. It's a distortion, and it's a program that we get fed and we buy into it and we carry it, kind of like what you've seen that you've done.
Yes.
And that's not your fault. It's not your fault that that happened and that you were in the energy field of a lot of, and I talk about that in my book a lot, like we're in the energy field of a lot of beings that are doing the best they know how, with the lack of love and the lack of awareness. So they're doing the best they know how, truly. If your mom's a crackhead and she's an addict and she's terrible, but if you can look at it truthfully, she's doing the best she knows how. Could she do better? Fuck yes, right? But she's doing the best she really understands how to at that point. And so it's really about us understanding that if my mom was this crackhead and she threw me away, and I could carry that for the rest of my life and suffer, or I could be like, wow, my mom was really struggling and she did the best she knew how. And that had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with my worth.
Yes.
Then we start to heal. Because my mom wasn't a crackhead, by the way, but my mom struggled. She was very abusive. She was bipolar. She had a lot of mental health issues and a lot of, I feel like, frozen toddler syndrome. Like some of our world leaders have that. I'll just say, I think there's a little
couple
poking here and hinting at some things, but energetically, I could love that mother and also see the woundedness in her and realize, like, as I got older. Now, when I was a kid, I took that shit personally, and my dogs are shaking. So if you guys hear that, sometimes the beastly bitches have to get a little wild. Hey, girls.
You're getting a little crazy.
Okay.
So, girls, if you're tired of being assholes to each other.
Yes. They're like, this chick's talk is stirring me up. Something about Mama's voice is stirring me up. And as I get the side eye from my dog. But energetically, if we, like, for me and my own journey, and I write about that in my book, where what I went through with my mom, like, truly, I've only gone to a couple of therapists because most of the healing I've done by myself, but a couple of times I went from a traumatic TV situation, and the therapist was like, how are you fucking alive?
Yeah.
Because I just shared some of my truth of my story. And she was like, what the fuck? Like, how are you even alive? And she was like, you kind of astound me. I had a guy that was mentoring with me that works in mental health and he does, like, helps people with depression and stuff. And he was tuning in on my life and he was just like, it's kind of miraculous. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, how you have become that. And energetically, the reason I'm saying that is it is miraculous. Okay, so we had to pause for a second because we suddenly were sitting in the middle of the Beastly Bitches Federation and they were getting into it. It's funny. I had a funny thing happen where my dogs were doing that, just fighting and play fighting. And Alexa just suddenly played Welcome to the Jungle. Welcome to the jungle. And I was like, oh my God, this is so fitting as they're like snarling and biting and throwing spit all over my living room. But they're actually sweet girls, but they just sometimes feel energy. Like animals are really sensitive to energy. And I think it's actually kind of very fitting with what we're talking about because sometimes we can feel energy and we have to learn to process. I know myself as an empath, I have to process, like, I am feeling some energy, or if I sense other people's tension, I am feeling it. I need to go move this energy. Mm-hmm. It's a reason I feel like I was intuitively guided most of my life to teach fitness and to keep my body in shape, because my own body, my own physical form cannot handle too much tension. And I grew up in, like, that's where I was talking about going to therapy and my therapist saying, how are you alive? And growing up in a very heavy and abusive environment with a lot of domestic violence calls and a lot of, I don't think people get, like, how much that affects you. And I had to do the best I knew how as a child. My point was, as a child, it's not your fault what you're going through. And your parents are doing truly the best they know how. If all the kids cut your parents a break, like, it doesn't mean make excuses for them. But like my mom, she actually was not a nurturer. She was not a great mother. She was very much like a frozen toddler. And she was very narcissistic and didn't really play well with others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But energetically, when I could, in my probably, I would say mid to late 20s, I started to process more about her and see her as a woman, not just as my mom, and to see her and feel her energy without judgment and just process what I was getting of how traumatized and wounded and frozen of a being she was. It helped me to have compassion for her. I also had excellent boundaries with her because my mom was someone that had a very heavy energy. So sometimes, like, if we're empaths and we've survived things and we've gone through things, we have to learn how to have those boundaries with people so that we don't get ourselves messed up because of the energy around us. And that's a whole nother topic we'll get into later. But truly, in regards to shadow work, it's not our fault what happened to us. And it wasn't even like something that, was directed at us a lot of times. Like it wasn't even something personal, even though like being abused can feel very personal.
Yeah.
But energetically, that person was at war with themselves and lashed out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this is why, kind of to close up this episode, it's so important to do shadow work, and it's so important to have self-awareness. And this is why I love working with clients as a shamanic healer and helping them. And truly, I would say Cindy would vouch for me that it's in a very compassionate and playful way.
Yes.
But also when a message has to come through with clarity and transparency, it will.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yes. And I trust that because I know that you're going to bring through truth that I need to hear to help me on the next healing, like the next step in my healing
for your
journey.
Freedom.
Yes.
Yes. Not for judgment.
Yes. Not for judgment. Exactly. And so, especially during a session, like super helpful. And I know that you're going to say it. Whereas some people I might be with, like if maybe I've had a session, with a psychic or someone, they may not bring that through.
Touch in on the actual, what needs to be touched on.
Yes.
And I think that's an important thing. We could do a whole episode on that, of like the importance of truly letting spirit speak through you with truth, clarity, transparency, and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like so many humans are afraid of hurting people's feelings or offending or whatever, that we can sometimes get a message come through. I don't do this, but I can see how it could happen, where people could get a message come through and they could try to just bypass it and like keep it sugary and sweet.
Yes.
Instead of really truthful and transparent.
Yeah.
Which I think is a huge part of true growth and healing, is we have to have that. So that being said, we're going to sign off today because we're right around that 22-minute mark. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Cindy, for sharing your truth and transparency.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thanks, guys. Take a minute to just like, share, follow, and come back and check us out each week for more truth, transparency, and magic. And we'll chat with you all soon. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today to our most recent podcast of Mindfulness Mastery 888, The Real, Raw, and Truthful. For those who would like to book any one-on-one sessions, you can contact me at mindfulnessmastery888.com. A gentle warning on working in higher realms of consciousness. As you are listening to our podcast, you may feel or experience tingles, dizziness, or tiredness. This is your body giving you guidance that it needs to relax. It's not a bad thing, but we do encourage you to honor your body and get yourself in a position where you can relax and receive these codes of consciousness. I thank you for taking a moment to subscribe, like, share, and follow, and come back and check out our newest content. Have a blessed and peaceful day.